Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Total Villain Multiverse. We are getting to our second game show episode, and guys, I'm not gonna lie, it's 10:13. I was gonna start recording a lot earlier, but two things happened. One, Clipchamp got an update, so that's I was looking at all the new weird stuff on there. But two, the main thing is I have got a little bit of a problem this time around. And that's that I want to tell good stories with almost every contestant left in the game. And by good stories, I mean stories that'll last like 10, 15, 20 episodes. But the problem is somebody has to get eliminated almost every episode. So what I'm going to be doing, it's not for this one, this is an elimination episode, but I will be doing more non-elimination rounds in the future, can't talk. So yeah, I think I've only done one of those so far in this series though. That wasn't like a lore episode. So yeah, let's get into it. So before we get to our pre-challenge section, we actually are going to be starting our episodes this season at Boney Island. So, if y'all do remember, Fiore sent over Rouge the Bat, Heather has sent over Harley Quinn, and Alejandro has sent over Toga. So, at the place, it started with everyone just searching around, but eventually Harley and Toga ran into each other. Now, this is a crazy pairing because they're both mentally insane, not doing okay, so they're both like actually depressed. At least this version of Harley is. And they're both bloodlusted, especially Toga. She's literally the definition of blood and lust. So, they end up getting into a insanely big fight, but since Toga doesn't really have any of the blood of like anyone right now because it was all confiscated, because it'd be a super unfair advantage, like if she had Superman's blood from the fight last time. And then it's all confiscated and in reality zero. With everyone else, so she's not able to use any of her main quirk abilities outside of stealing Harley's blood, I guess, and maybe some of her other fellow contestants. But she is able to be down to the power level of Harley Quinn. So they have a fight all night long. They fight each other through the woods, but they don't like hate each other. They actually both really enjoy it, and they both congratulate each other how both of them got really beat up, but to the point of needing a one-up mushroom. But they didn't die because they were so equal. It would be a great anime battle. So they have a newfound respect for each other. However, during then, Rouge, who's nocturnal, and also is very, why am I blanking on the word? What is the word? Oh, stealthy. I don't know how I blanked on the word stealthy. Very stealthy, is able to sneak around them throughout the night. And she ends up finding the team advantage. And it's a very good advantage for the challenge. So whenever Lauren comes to pick them up, actually probably be Six. Yeah, whenever Six comes to pick them up in the morning, Harley and Toga give each other a hug as they go back to their teams. So we'll bring everyone over here. Oh, nope, not Elmo. Oh yeah, I should probably explain. Midas's Prison is going to be the new tier 4 comeback since everybody's going to be coming back. But they're all going to be sent to Midas's Prison until then. So, yeah. Let's actually go to our pre-challenge section. So the first thing that happens is Fiore is very honestly surprised that Rouge was able to get the team advantage because she had only seen Rouge around Sonar, and she was like, if she's in the Sonar, she clearly can't be that bright. But Rouge definitely is. Meanwhile, Heather is a little disappointed and kind of is pretty rude to Harley Quinn, which, I mean, yeah, Harley Quinn's a psycho, but it still affects her, especially after what happened with the Joker. And then as for Toga not finding hers, I think Alejandro would just be less annoyed with that, more annoyed with the fact he has to deal with her again. But she's not too bad this morning, as she spends most of the morning around Harley Quinn, which means that Heather confronts Harley for the same reason she confronted Lindsay all those years ago. She doesn't want one of her allies making allies with another team, because then come merge time, that can be a problem. Well, Harley, in confessional, starts talking about how she doesn't think she should be told what to do. So she's getting a little annoyed with Heather right now. Meanwhile, Alejandro doesn't care because as long as Toga's not around him, he's just using Toga for the vote. Anything else of importance going on? I think that for now, as Sloane keeps plotting, she's keeping it a secret from Azula and Afton and Zomboss, but she might tell one of them eventually her plan, especially if she needs them for it. Anything else of importance? Oh yeah, So Zombie Scarlet has still got her spells going on through Sasha, and it's now kind of made Sasha, I mean, y'all already saw, it's made Sasha really depend on Zombie Wanda, and she's starting to kind of abuse this power by just making Sasha go do dumb tasks, even though she has all this magic, so she could just teleport over there and grab like a bag of chips herself. She makes Sasha go do it, and Sasha's like, yes, please. She's kind of, it's like a 20 times worse and more depressing and sad version of what happened with Daisy last season, with everyone just being inclined to like her a lot. While Sasha doesn't even really feel like Zombie Wanda that much, it's just that when she's not around her, all these traumatic thoughts and stuff start coming back, and she starts going crazy. So, yeah. Fiore is perfectly fine with this. She's a demon child. But yeah, I think we can get to our challenge section now. So if y'all do remember, if y'all do remember last time, I did ask for some challenge suggestions, and y'all did deliver. We had Twinber suggesting 2 different challenges, and then we had Squidbot372 suggesting another challenge. Now, Squidbot, I am going to be using yours. It'll either be in the next episode or the one after, but probably the next episode. But for now, I decided to go with one of Twinber. And that challenge is Challenge 49, The Purge, suggested by Twinber. This challenge is kind of a coincidence because the last one was based off a game. This is based off another franchise. Not every single challenge is going to be based off of a franchise. Y'all don't have to do that if y'all keep doing your challenge suggestions, which honestly I hope you'll do. Less work for me, right? So let's go into how this one's going to work. Basically, teams have 24 hours to simply kill the opposing teams. During this time, the necklaces are removed, but 6 make sure nothing gets too out of hand. Piss her off, and your time on the show is over. Players can use any powers they want outside of the basic restrictions. Basically, those restrictions are kind of Azula, kind of Darth Vader, but mainly Death Malik, Zombie Wanda, and Sin. But we'll see how that actually lasts. Also, if any contestant has a signature weapon, it will be provided to them for the length of the challenge. So, for example, Afton has his axe, and Andreas has his sword. Toga's given her blood to drink, and also her knife. Harley Quinn's given her hammer and her bat. Mainly, actually, yeah, probably just her bat, I think, would be better. Even though she's holding her hammer in that icon, whatever. Death's given his sickles. Vader's given his lightsaber, etc., etc., etc. For certain characters that don't have a signature weapon, they won't really need one. Like Bowser won't need one because he has his fire breath, and Venom won't need one because he's a freaking symbiote. Sonar because he has bat form. But for Alejandro, Heather, and Fiore, they are all given a super powerful gun like a super powerful shotgun that isn't really specific to any of them, just because they don't have any signature weapons, but I can't give them nothing because they're so fragile, right? They're just basic humans. So this shotgun is able to pierce through a lot of stuff. It's a mythic shotgun from Reality Zero, basically the mythic pump shotgun from Fortnite if you've played it. So it can affect pretty much everybody. Also, nobody's allowed to steal each other's weapons. I should probably say that, mainly because they have to take them all back after this. Also, they must stay on the island, or else that's another auto-elimination. Guys, there's going to be a lot of restrictions since we're dealing with some of the craziest people in the multiverse. To win, either survive and evade 24 hours or get every single opposing team member out. First team to have all their members die loses. If no teams lose all their members by the end of the 24 hours, the team that has the least amount of teammates left will lose. As for the advantage that Rouge found, it's a really powerful one, and a lot of people start crashing out whenever Lauren reads it aloud, because it says, advantage. If someone has found the advantage on Boney Island, their team will be free from any power restrictions. Which means Zombie Wanda and Sin, the 2 most powerful people, are free from their restrictions. So even though everyone starts crashing out, everyone is also just so that nobody dies immediately, is set on different sides of the island, different corners of the island, their teams are, and the challenge begins. So how do I think this is going to go at first? I think there's a few different approaches. I think that on Heather's herd, it's going to kind of become a little bit of some packs. I think the girls over here spend most of their time together. They go out in kind of a group of 3. These 2 stay together, and then Malik wants to work Darth Vader onto his side, while Vader, who's kind of not really too attached to anyone right now, is also trying to be worked by Death. So they're both kind of arguing over Vader a lot of the time, which really pisses off Vader, because Vader is, obviously, y'all know Darth Vader. It's not in his personality type. Meanwhile, Alejandro's allies take a very different approach, a very more strategic approach, which is to move as one big group. And this is because they have Andreas and Bowser as huge physical threats, and they also have Sloane and Afton and Zomboss as really good strategists, and Azula and Toga, who now with Toga's blood stuff, both of them have incredible power, and then Alejandro is also there. But the reason they're doing this is they know Zombie Wanda and Sin are the problems. On Fiore's favorites, it kind of just becomes whatever. I think Sin runs off on her own. Wanda leaves Sasha with Fiore. But then Sasha starts like freaking out, so Wanda's like, okay, whatever, and just traps her in like this little bubble and brings her with her. So yeah, and then Fiore is kind of left on her own after Rouge and Sonar both fly off together as well. And Venom also, I think Venom comes up to Fiore and ends up being like, because he's kind of an anti-hero. He's more villainous in this world, but he's still kind of an anti-hero. He wouldn't like kill a kid, or at least this young of a kid. So he does go after Peter a lot. So he ends up saying, okay, I'll look after this one. And she's fine with that because she thinks Venom looks cool. So I think eventually Sin is just tearing through the forest, being terrifying. She's got her freaking mini black holes out. She doesn't want to destroy the entire island, because even though Sin very well could, she does not want to start another war just yet, because she knows she'll probably lose, and she wants to be more strategic. So she's like, if I win the game, then try to conquer the multiverse, then we can be better. So yeah, that's why she's not immediately black holing the entire island and killing everybody. Which, by the way, even though Six is looking around, Lauren has completely left the reality at this point. Like, she's not trying to deal with all that. Because she's scared that they'll try to kill her. So she ends up rifting to go hang out with the MFA. More on that later. So Six is kind of hosting this challenge more. So, anyways, Sin eventually runs into part of Heather's herd. That part being Death, Vader, and Malik, because they're all arguing. Vader crashes out at both of them and tells them both to shut up, or else he'll make sure they both go home. And both of them are really annoyed, because even though they're both like immortal beings that are supposed to be super mature adults, they both have been bickering like children, and they're both kind of embarrassed about that. But they hear Sin, and immediately, I think Sin, I don't know if Sin could take all three of these people in her own. Actually, who am I kidding? Yes, she absolutely could. She sends a black hole towards Vader, but Vader is able to use the Force, like an insane amount of the Force, to direct the black hole over to his right. Who's right next to his right on the tier list? It's Malik. So Malik gets absolutely discombobulated. And he actually gets so cooked from this that he wouldn't even be able to be one-up mushroomed. He has a reboot card drop. Reboot cards only drop, by the way, in universes where there are reboot fans, which there's a reboot fan on this island. So Six goes over there and just sneaks over and grabs it and then dips, while Sin continues fighting Vader and Death. And I think that eventually Death sees Vader's about to die, and then he's cooked right after. So Death ends up running off into the woods, out of not fear, I mean a little bit of fear, but mainly just because you don't want to freaking get cooked. Also, yes, they're immortal, but they can still be put into the reboot cards, and then need one-up mushrooms and stuff. I don't know. Plot convenience. So Vader and Malik both get cooked, and Sin tries to find Death. But then I think that the unit of Alejandro's allies, they decide that they're going to try to confront another team, because they're assuming that some other team is doing this strategy as well, because it is pretty obvious, but nobody else is. So when they end up going to where they know the spawn point kind of is for Fiore's favorites, they only find Venom and Fiore just vibing. And it's safe to say that Afton has a fun time killing Fiore. And even though Venom has bonded a little with Afton, seeing this, he does get really annoyed, because he would never kill a kid this young. And he ends up killing Afton before himself getting shot in the back of the head by Alejandro. Which, by the way, Fiore tried to shoot Afton, but she missed. And also the knockback probably freaking sent her flying into a tree. So, yeah. Then I think we move back to... Where do I want to move back to? Heather's Herd? Yeah, we'll move over to Heather's Herd, where Heather and Daisy are gossiping quite a bit. And Daisy notices that Harley feels a little kind of distant. And she asks Harley, while Heather walks ahead a little bit, she asks Harley what's up. And Harley starts talking about how she feels like Heather doesn't really value her opinion as much as she values Daisy's, or really just even her own opinion. So Daisy ends up saying to Harley that it's just her personality. I'm sure it's probably fine. And Harley's yeah, sure, maybe. So she ends up walking into a different direction into the woods. She says she needs to go use the bathroom, but she doesn't. She just wants to get away from them. However, she gets really lucky as Zombie Wanda, along with Sasha tagging along. She has her swords, but it really doesn't matter because Zombie Wanda walks right into Heather and Daisy and destroys both of them. Harley hears this and runs away. So Heather and Daisy are eliminated. Again, like, these people now need reboot cards. Next, I think that Alejandro's allies also hear this, and they go to confront what they're expecting to either be Zombie Wanda or Sin. Now, just before they see Wanda, Toga drinks some blood that she got, and that blood, there's actually a flashback. So in this flashback, during the big final battle, 0 Hour, after getting defeated by Zuko and Monica, before she got her freaking neck snapped by Monica, she asked Malik to take her to the final reality, and having no reason not to oblige, Malik did. So she drops her off there, and there, all the people that have been trapped there are all trapped in chains. And she goes up to each of them, and she starts taking blood from them. So these include people like Superman, people like All Might, the Collector, the Flash. So she wants to save most of these for more villainous purposes, but for now she ends up taking All Might because she at least thinks she knows All Might's powers, but she doesn't. Well, she takes them and she runs out to Zombie Wanda as All Might, and with that little bit of confusion, Zombie Wanda snaps out of it and she moves Sasha's ball right in front of All Might Toga, and All Might Toga punches through the ball, killing Sasha, which Sasha thinks of this as an honest mistake. It definitely wasn't. Well, they end up getting in an all-out brawl, but everyone else jumps out, and I think with All Might's power, as well as, which yes is one for all, by the way, as well as freaking Azula in here and everyone else, I think that Zombie Wanda is able to be defeated here. So then who do I think is gonna go down next? I feel like, also I think it would probably be a good idea for balancing for at least one person to die during the Alejandro's Allies versus Wanda section. So that person can be, I don't know, who wants to die? We can kill Bowser. Bowser gets cooked. He gets his shell ripped off. But we're coming down to 3, 4, and 6 people. And I think that eventually now they want to get out Sin next, and then they can deal with getting all the other little people. But eventually Sin is able to run into Magica and the Mimic, and she's able to kill them pretty easily. They try to sneak around her, but there's a jump scare, and she takes them both. She also is able to use her callback ping. I think this would be cool. She uses her callback ping to hack into the Mimic, and then the Mimic kills Magica, and then unhacks, and now she knows where the Mimic is, so she goes and kills the Mimic. So it'd be like a horror segment, kind of. Well, eventually, Harley runs into Death, and they're like, okay, so we know, I'm pretty sure everyone else on our teams are dead, unless there's Magica and the Mimic, which just got killed, but they don't know that. So they're like, okay, we should probably stay together. And this allows them, they don't bond or anything, but they at least are going to work together, which will matter later. But eventually Alejandro's allies run into Sin. And, which by the way, I know Rouge and Sonar are there, we'll get to them in a minute. They run into Sin, and this time, Toga's blood has already fallen off. But I should also say that like it works the same as it works in canon, but she got her quirk awakening early, where she's able to use other people's abilities. Normally, she doesn't have that in the show till much later, but maybe during 0 hour she got that quirk awakening. Anyways, that doesn't matter too much. But what matters is that this time, since Sin is way more powerful, she ends up drinking the Collector's blood. So she, after gaining the form of the Collector, she freaking starts just throwing all the trees around Sin, and Sin is able to easily just get rid of all of them. But this distraction allows her to get shot in the face by Alejandro and then jumped by everyone else. Now, during this fight, I actually think it'd be really, really hard. Even though Toga is the Collector, I think Andreas falls. I think Zomboss falls. I think Sloane falls. Or actually, no, I don't think Sloane falls. I think Azula falls. But I think eventually Toga, as well as Alejandro, and, well, no, Alejandro falls too. I think Toga, as well as Sloane, are able to finally have her die. So Sin is eliminated. So now we've come down to 2, 2, and 2. Now, Sloane says, hey, Toga, you got the other 4, right? I got to go do something. Sloane wanted to do what she's about to do earlier, but she kind of couldn't find a good way to break away from the team. And Toga's like, more blood for me. Which, by the way, she has been, while she's able to, she's been taking the blood from most of her victims that she's killed throughout this episode, but she's going to get it confiscated anyway. But those blood vials will be with the other blood vials. So, but like Sin's, for example, won't work because Sin's a robot. So that would just be like oil. But anyways, I think that after this, Toga is able to run into Death and Harley. Now, Toga's annoyed that she has to use another vial because she wanted to save them, especially because it feels so good when she uses them. But she decides, why doesn't she feel the best? So she pulls out another vial, and this vial is labeled Azuku. So with All Might, it was a weaker version of All for One, because All Might was losing his power already, but he was still super strong. With Azuku, this is a pretty, like, basically Season 4 of MHA level Azuku. So she's able to pretty easily defeat Death and Harley, meaning that, and this is just at, like, the 22-hour mark. So meaning that pretty easily she's able to have Heather's Herd lose. Now, it doesn't really matter who actually wins out of Alejandro's allies or Fiore's favorites, since Heather's Herd has already lost. But Bloodlusted Toga continues her search for Rouge and Sonar, who are just actually making out in a cave, the same cave that was important throughout last season. And she comes for them while Sloane continues to go make her way to her cell. And eventually she does. So Sloane's goal right now is to tamper with herself so that she can be able to leave whenever she's not allowed to. She wanted to do it for good behavior, but she realized that it would probably be merge time by the time she was even allowed to do that. So while she doesn't have her cross necklace, which prevents her from doing anything too bad, she's going to try. Now, Six is watching her. By the way, Six didn't end the challenge because she can't. She's not the host, and the host is still gone. She's a little busy, so the challenge is still technically going on. And she was also told not to reboot or revive anyone until after the challenge was done. So she ends up following Sloane, and she watches as Sloane tampers with a lot of the electronics and stuff in her cell. Now, Six comes up to her and is like, which, by the way, Six can talk now, like full sentences, and confronts her. She's like, dude, what are you doing? You're going to get kicked out of this show. And Sloane whips around and says, oh, well, actually, I was just fixing my cell because, you see, right here, the camera had broken. And the night before, she had broken the camera, by the way, but she used it as an excuse. And Six is like, well, that's good. Keep this up, and you might get released for good behavior early. And she ends up leaving. Six isn't the smartest. And Sloane, what she actually did was shut down a lot of stuff that can kill her. She did fix the camera, though, so that it doesn't look that bad. But a lot of the precautions and stuff, she shut down. So she should be able to sneak out in the middle of the night now. But anyways, eventually Toga runs into the cave and finds Sonar in his bat form. Well, not in his bat form, in his normal form, making out with Rouge. And Toga, most people would find this gross, but, you know, Toga is Toga. So she's like, hey, can I join in? And they're like, what the hell? She wasn't being serious. and they get ready to fight her because none of the three of them don't know if anyone else is alive. They on Heather's herd. So the fight happens, and she doesn't want to use any more of her vials. So I think that eventually Toga is able to take down Rouge, but this makes Sonar go into his bat form and like his monster bat form, and he's able to take down Toga. So that means now everyone's dead except Sloane and Sonar, and Lauren finally makes her way back, and she's like, "Sorry, I got distracted." And she announces that the challenge is over, and everyone is rebooted. So let me quickly put back the teams, and we'll move on to our post-challenge. Right, so we've arrived at our post-challenge section, and here there's a few things going on. Mainly, Zombie Wanda has this whole fake-ass apology to Sasha just because she only cares about keeping Sasha on her side, but Sasha is blinded by not being permanently traumatized, so she doesn't really care. Fiore and Venom are not too, like, they've bonded quite a bit. They're not, like, full-blown alliance mode, but I think I could maybe move Venom over here for now. For now, I'll do that. I wanted to keep the team leaders at the front, but I think that this is fine. Also, that means I'm going to do this as well. But I'm keeping Alejandro at the front of his team. That way Heather can show that she's with Daisy more than Harley, but she's with them both. So, excuse me. Anyways, what else is going on? I'll talk about Heather's herd last. On Alejandro's allies, Alejandro does tell Toga that he's proud of her for how well she did in the challenge today, because she was literally one of the only two people that actually stayed alive and got one of the highest body counts. If it weren't for her, freaking Wanda and Sen would have absolutely dominated, which they still are immune, but that wasn't even the goal. It was just to not get last, right? So she's basically the reason that they didn't all die. So as for Heather's herd, though, there's a lot of drama going on, and that's because freaking Harley's willing to give Heather another shot for Daisy's sake, because Daisy is pretty nice to her. So the three of them are good. But also Harley just vibed with Death a little bit, and they decide that also Daisy freaking hates Malik. Like, she doesn't really care for Death either, but she hates Malik for everything that happened last season. So they end up all four of them aligning, and they want Malik gone. However, I think you can already see where this is going. Malik is able to use his connections through Mimic and Magicka to convince Vader. So as for Malik and Mimic's relationship, as well as by extension Magicka, they were able to vibe in his cave. And while Malik, I guess he technically wasn't there the whole time, but you know, but these three, I think they'd all be at least like, hey, if we don't align, then we're going to get cooked by these four. Like, it's over. So they end up, that's how they're also able to convince Vader. Malik kind of does the convincing for all of them. He's like, I let you use my cave. They're like, you weren't barely even there. And he's like, whatever. And then they're able to convince Vader as well. So we come to elimination. That's the wrong way. We come to the elimination ceremony. And since nobody has any sort of immunity idols, nobody found that team swap advantage or anything, we just come down to a tiebreaker. With 4 votes Malik and 4 votes Death. This is wild, y'all. And this is what I was talking about earlier. I didn't want Fiore's favorites to lose again. And I didn't want Alejandro's allies to lose, because look at those characters. All of them are already really important to the story outside of a few. So I ended up settling on Heather's herd losing, but also literally everyone here is important outside of kind of Vader. But I didn't want to get Vader out because he's really popular. So we kind of got this really, really early rival thing, but it was played up through all of last season, so I think it's okay to do. So when it comes to the tiebreaker, I actually think they're pretty equally matched in most scenarios. So no, I think they'd probably end up doing, to theme it around the challenge, they just have to kill each other. Right, that's it. Just 1v1, they have to kill each other. Whoever dies first loses. And we've seen Death fight before in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. And we haven't directly seen Malik fight, but like I think that he probably is really strong. I mean, Dark Deception Chapter 5 is going to be coming out soon, and he is like the overarching villain so far. But overall, I think I actually want to give this one as a really big plot twist, just really hammer in how intense this season is. to death, meaning Malik is eliminated second. Now he is livid. Daisy and Death are super happy. A lot of people are really happy about this, including even Lauren. But he is livid, and he vows to see all of them in hell one day. Well, he is sent to Midas's prison, and he just has to hope he can get back in on the comeback. So I've been flip-flopping on this for a while, but the reason that I decided to go for Malik over Death is actually because of last season. So last season, Puss in Boots was the second boot, and a lot of people wanted him to stay longer or return, because a lot of people really liked him. Well, I'm pretty sure people like Death even more, and if it weren't for y'all, Puss wouldn't have even gotten like a major plot. He would have been another Goofy, and then Death would have never had a major plot. Then I wouldn't have ever thought of the final reality, and if it weren't for that one little change, a lot of big things wouldn't happen. So I want to explore Death more instead of Malik, again, because Malik has been such a big player in Season 1 and in Season 2, and I still have some plans for him in Season 3, but I think this is pretty good to get him out, at least for now. But we'll see if he comes back during the comeback episode. However, I don't know how big I'm going to make this merge, but however big it is, if it's 10 players, 12 players, it is going to be a lot of people in that comeback episode. So we'll see if it's him. But overall, the last thing we have to do today is, I almost just ended the episode without doing it, is the team leaders need to nominate who they want to go to Boney Island. And I think that seeing as nobody can go twice in a row, but seeing as Toka did really well, I think Alejandro would want to go for someone who's kind of like her, but a little smarter and won't get caught up in a fight the whole time. So who's someone that's really insane, but also really smart and can be calm when they need to be, and is also powerful enough to fight other people? Well, I think that he'd probably end up going with Azula. I was going to say Afton, but actually Azula. And this is actually good for Sloane, since Sloane's cell is right next to Azula's. She didn't want anyone hearing her get out in the middle of the night. So Azula is sent to Boney Island for Alejandro's allies. For Fiore's favorites, I think for Fiore's favorites, she would probably go Venom, since she just bonded with Venom, and Venom would be like, sure, why not? And then as for Heather's herd, I think they would probably go... She sent Harley last time, which is another reason why Harley feels like, okay, maybe at least somewhat she cares about me, because she trusted me to do that. But this time, I think they'd probably go to for Heather to hopefully have some of the other people feel better about her. She'd probably go I was going to say Magica. I guess we can do Magica. Yeah, so they said Magica. Just 3 characters who haven't done that much yet. So they're sent to Boney Island. Because Boney Island's definitely going to help a lot of people's arcs. But overall, that is going to do it for this episode of Total Villain Multiverse outside of post-credit scenes. Again, y'all can definitely leave your challenge suggestions below. But I do want to say, kind of a little teaser, that challenge suggestions aren't exactly going to be the only way that you're interacting with the Total Villain Multiverse, or the Total Drama Multiverse this season, or next season, especially next season, but this season too, because, I mean, we just started this one. We don't want to think too far ahead of ourselves. But for now, all I really need from y'all is some challenge suggestions. So I hope y'all enjoyed, and I cannot wait to catch y'all in the next episode of Total Villain Multiverse. 6 came up to Lauren and asked her after the challenge, asked her what took her so long and why she was gone all day. And Lauren said, well, actually, you know how different realities move at different speeds, their time do? And she's just like, no, I didn't know that. But I guess that's probably why I thought Season 2 and Season 3 happened like 4 years after each other. Well, Lauren replies, and she says, well, I was actually with the MFA, the Mega Friendship Alliance, for the past like 5 days. And Six is like, oh, what were you doing? And Lauren's like, well, we were all hanging out at Star's Castle. And Lauren, we go back, we'll just bring her over here. She's like, we were all hanging out at Star's Castle, and we were just having a bunch of fun. She was bonding with her brother, and Ezekiel, she was bonding with everyone. Everyone was just having a great old time when Star's friend Marco came in, and obviously not knowing who any of these people were, Star explained and introduced everyone. Well, Marco, which by the way, all these realities, but that weren't like some of the villain realities, all of them pretty much. So actually, yeah, literally every single reality except for DC and Amphibia were put on pause when their contestants came to the show, so that they wouldn't be like affected. But now they're all unpaused. So DC universe and Amphibia universe are the only ones that are like actually weren't put on pause and are different now. And I guess Reality Zero as well in the final reality, but whatever. So anyways, after learning all this, Marco had the idea, and he was like, "Wait, I don't want to be away from Star again." So, because now it's been on pause, but Star's still going around with the MFA. And so he's like, "So can I join?" And Ezekiel's like, "Please let him join, because I'm the only guy." And I think that at first they'd be kind of hesitant, but everyone would be like, "Hey, if he joins, some other people can join." Like for example, Luz talks about her girlfriend, and a few other people start talking about people they'd want to join. And eventually they're like, "You know what? Sure, we'll let a few other people in here, but only close friends, and not like 50 people." Because they still want everyone to be able to bond with each other. So Marco joins. I don't have an icon for him, at least not yet. But they decided to go search for a few others, but not like a lot of others. So Lauren decides to leave them after that. That she was just hanging out with them. So she says goodbye and leaves. But yeah, now they might be growing the MFA a little bit more. Well, not might. They definitely are. While Lauren and Six talked, though, Sloane was able to make it out of her cell. It was like midnight at this point, and she ends up sneaking past Six and Lauren to the place where they had all of the weapons. Now, they were planning on bringing them back, but surely they won't notice one or two missing. Well, she searches through them, and she decides to take just a simple axe. Nothing, it's Afton's axe. Nothing too crazy that they would definitely notice. So she takes Afton's axe as well as Toga's dagger. Just some basic weapons that she's gonna be needing soon.